got the legendary and somewhat mythical Soldano X99 on the bench today. This is a very unique beast. Not only does it look amazing in its purple metallic finish, but it's got motorized knobs, and I will never get over how cool it is being able to cycle through presets and having those knobs instantaneously move on there. And they're very, very fast. They're more or less silent on there as well. I mean, they're definitely a lot quieter than the fan on this VHT 2150 that I'm using for this video. Both these pieces of awesome rack gear belong to my buddy Jason. Big thank you to Jason for letting me borrow this. Using this preamp and this power amp is actually a dream come true. I've really been into rack gear basically all of my musical life. Over the last 5 or 6 years, I've been able to track down a lot of classic pieces and pieces that I basically never dreamed I'd get the chance to try. So this is definitely something that's been on my bucket list. It's super cool and it sounds pretty awesome as well. We'll talk about the signal chain. Guitar is going into currently a Boss SD1 that's bypassed. We did hear a few boosted tones on there, but we will go through mostly unboosted tones on this. That's going into the X99, that's going into the 2150. I've got the presence at 11 o'clock, the depth at 1 o'clock, and the volume at noon on the 2150. That's going to the Saint Rock React IR 2 reactive load box. I've loaded up my free cab IR and I'm going straight into my interface and DAW. So let's pull some tones on this. The sort of main menu over here lets you select things like the bright switch per mode, the clean, crunch, and overdrive mode on there. You can save presets, and there is MIDI control on here as well. So if you had like a continuous MIDI controller, you can do things where you sweep various knobs at the same time. Very, very cool. I'm pretty content just having the preset switch on here. While it's awesome to hear this straight up and raw, it's also pretty fantastic layering it with micro pitch, delay, and reverb. So we'll start out on this 1990 Les Paul Custom burst buckers in the bridge and neck position on here. At the moment, I've got the lead or the overdrive channel dialed in at the moment. I'll let you hear the difference between having the bright switch in or out. We'll compare it to the crunch and the clean mode. Absolutely a Soldano, but one thing that's interesting about this, and I suspect it's probably because I'm using it with the 2150, this is the most recto I've ever heard a Soldano sound, and it's pretty well documented how many similarities there are between those circuits, but personally I've never played like an SLO or a Hot Rod or even the X88 that I've got here and gone, yeah, it definitely can do the recto thing. It's always like, yeah, I can see how they've got some shared ancestry in there, but with this, you're getting that giant Chungus low end on there, especially boosted. So yeah, that's an observation on there. This preamp and power amp combo is definitely doing that early dual rec thing, which is very, very cool. Let's try it with the JTG now. I've got the mid-boost preamp disengaged at the moment. I like this for rhythm stuff with that bright button on. It's just the perfect distance to miscue when I turn it on over here. So we'll hear it with and without, or I should say without and with the mid-boost pre on there. I kind of like this with the mids cranked up as well. It sounded pretty slamming. Oh, that is savage with the Strat. This gets better the more you play it. When I first plugged this in with this rig, I will admit, I was like, yeah, this is good. I expected it to be good. But the more I play it, the more I kind of try it with a few different guitars on there. The combination of the preamp, the power amp, whatever guitar I'm plugging in, you could hear that the Strat really sounded like a Strat. The Les Paul really sounded like a Les Paul on it. The Tyler was doing its own thing on there as well. I think that's a hallmark of a really good piece of gear. And, you know, is this worth like the 10,000 Australian dollars that they go for used now? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone could really justify that. Is it super rare, super collectible, amazing to see one down here built for 230, 240 volt operation? Yes, and I mean, Jason is a connoisseur. He's got great taste with all this type of gear on here. So while this would be a very, very expensive rig, I mean, you know, Soldano now do the X88IR, which, you know, it's all in the same universe, right? Like I've got a Hot Rod 50 here, the X88IR, the Astro does the Soldano thing really well. I've got a comparison video with the Astro and the Hot Rod 50 Plus. My good friend Troy Nababan has an SLO down at his studio and the SLO module, and I think the SLO2 module as well. So, you know, there's so many ways to get this sound now, but as somebody who is a collector, an avid fan whose many hobbies include collecting rack gear, this has been super cool to play with, and I'm actually amazed at how well they implemented those motorized knobs on there. I thought, yeah, okay, it's gonna be getting old and crusty by now, but this is getting on in years and it's still working perfectly. I mean, the build construction on this old Soldano stuff is absolutely incredible. Second to none. You know, nobody was doing it better. Probably nobody can say that they've done it better since on there. Really, really awesome sounding preamp. I like the kind of aggressive bright cap on there as well. You know, if I'm playing on the Strat, say this preset that I dialed in here, the sort of big fat lead sound with all the gain, hitting the bright switch on and off, you can really hear the difference even with the gain crank. Which does make me think maybe it's not like a traditional bright circuit on there. Maybe it's some kind of high pass filter later in the preamp section. I'm sure somebody who knows all about these things can probably tell me, but I'm gonna pull up stumps for now. This was super fun. Very much a once in a lifetime experience for someone like me to play this. So Jason, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate being able to rip on all this gear. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you want to support what I'm doing here on the channel, links are in the video description. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.